Hello everyone and welcome back to my gaming channel. So as you can see by the title of the video, I have decided to restart my entire island. Now I'm one of those people that restart my island frequently, but this time I decided to do it just in time for the new update. If you're new to the game or just fancy some tips and tricks, be sure to hit the subscribe button as I will be teaching you everything. So the game starts with us in an airport. We just need to do some bits and bobs and then we'll be flying over to our island. So they're going to ask you if you've ever played the game before. If you have and you want to transfer your data over, I'm pretty sure that's a possibility. If it's your first time playing, you just have to say that this is your first time. We are now at the part where you input your name. I always just use my first name. If you don't feel like using that when you don't have to, just be wary that it is going to be seen by local and online players. This is also one of the things that you cannot change later down the line. So whatever you choose your name to be is the one that you are stuck with until you choose to restart your island. Again, your birthday is something that other players can see. You can put in a fake birthday if you want, but there's not really any harm in putting your real birthday in, as they do not ask you for the birth year. But again, that is your choice, but just know if you do put your real birthday in, Animal Crossing do something very cute and very special on your birthday. Now, this is actually one of my least favourite parts of setting up my island, simply because there are hardly any options for hair colours, hairstyles, eyes, anything. Luckily, you unlock more as you play the game, but for this one, you kind of have to just figure out something that vaguely resembles the character you want. Again, you don't have to make it look like you can make it look like anyone. I remember the first time that I played the game and I saw that Timmy and Tommy needed a photo, and I spent like an hour putting makeup on my actual face, thinking they were going to use the camera and my Switch and take a photo of me. All I'm going to say is, I'm glad that they didn't. Anyway, what we're going to do now is we're going to pick one of the 4 islands that is going to become our island. Something that I actually learned in the last couple of years or so, if you don't like any of the 4 islands that they give you, you can just press the home button on your console, restart the software, and it will give you a completely different set of islands. One of the questions that Timmy and Tommy are going to ask you is roughly where you live. This is simply because if you wanted your island to look like how it looks where you live, i.e. weather and time zones, you have that choice. Because I said yes when they asked me if I live in Europe, they've put me in the Northern Hemisphere, asked if I was happy, and I said yes. Now is the time where they're going to show you a selection of islands. Remember, if you don't like these, press the home button on your Switch, restart your Animal Crossing, and they'll give you a completely different selection. I decided my 2 river mouths were going to be on the west and south coasts of my island. Where your river mouths are is again another feature that you cannot change unless you restart your Animal Crossing completely. This question always used to flummox me because I thought that each answer would have a different outcome, but I was told that it doesn't really matter what answer you pick, it's just sort of, it is actually hypothetical. So now that we've answered this question, it is finally time to fly over to our deserted island. So we have a checklist to work through today. Day 1, I need to pitch my tent. I need to help my villagers pitch their tents. I need to collect sticks and fruit for Tom. I need to name the island, collect the sleeping cot, and survive my first night in a tent. During this flyover, you're going to be able to see what kind of fruit is your island's native fruit. As you can see, mine are pears. Again, this is one of those features that you cannot change, although I don't see much of an issue if I get stuck with a fruit that I don't like. There is actually a point in the game that you can reach where it doesn't actually matter what fruit you're growing on your island, as you can grow all the kinds of fruit available. This is also the time that you can see the colour of your airport and the 2 islanders you're going to have living on your island with you. These are the 4 airport colours you could end up with. So if you're not happy with the one that you've been given, restart your Animal Crossing and hopefully you'll get a different colour. This also applies to the islanders. If you're not happy with the 2 that you get stuck with, you can restart the game and it'll give you 2 completely different ones. But I don't feel like it really matters at this point because you get people coming and going all the time. Now is the point of the game where we get to meet the famous Tom Nook. This guy has some mixed reviews. I don't really think he's too bad, but you guys will just have to let me know how you feel about him in the comments below. Up until this point in the game, it's been Timmy and Tommy looking after us, but from now on, it will be Tom. This part of the game is not actually that important. We just meet Tom, he tells everyone that he's the president, he welcomes us in and congratulates us, but that's about it. You can see on my island that I currently have snow. This is down to the hemisphere and the seasons that I chose at the beginning. As it is currently winter in the northern hemisphere, it will reflect on my game. I think that's so cool. After Tom has finally wrapped up his monologue, we get to go to Timmy and Tommy and collect our tent. Without giving away too many spoilers, the tent is only temporary, so do not stress too much about living in a tent. It doesn't really matter where you place your tent too much. I like to put mine fairly close to resident services. The great thing when it comes to placing buildings and tents is that you can see what they look like before you make your final decision. When Timmy gives you your tent, he's also going to give you a map. This is one of the most useful features ever. You can choose to turn it off, but as someone with nearly 3,000 hours of playtime, I still keep it on. I always have. I love it. So off we go to pitch our tent. As you can see, the map pops up in the right hand corner of the screen. I used to think I'd have to find a spot in between the trees, but actually if you find a spot and the outline has a tree within it, it gets rid of the tree. To open your inventory, aka your pockets, press X and then go over to the tent and press A. When you deploy your tent, you get 3 options. One called Let Me Think, meaning you can see your tent before you deploy it. I didn't like the fact that there was a giant tree in front of my tent, so I decided to change locations only slightly to the right so that you wouldn't have the giant tree blocking it. Ta-da! My tent is ready to go. It even comes with its own mailbox. The next step is to find your other 2 villagers. I first found Muffy. You need to ask her if she needs help putting up her tent. Because I want everything on my island to be a specific way, yes, I'm a bit of a control freak when it comes to this. I like to place Muffy's tent for her. You can leave them to do it themselves, but there's no guarantee that the place that they pick is going to be what you want. Also, did you notice Muffy called me Nightshade? That's because every villager has their own catchphrase. How cool! Obviously, I didn't like where Muffy wanted her tent. I decided to change the location for her. I like to keep my villager's house as close to mine, just so it makes it easier. Your villager's tent is going to be in your pocket, so again, press X to open your pockets and A to deploy the tent. I'm not too fussy where my villagers' tents really go, I just like them to be close to mine. Now that Muffy's tent is in place, I need to go and find Mac and do the same to his. Did you know there is a total of 413 distinct villagers in the game's roster? There are 35 different animal species such as dogs, cats, bears, even octopuses, and 8 personality types too. Muffy's personality type is sisterly, which means she is caring, tough, and protective like an older sister, and she often gives the players advice. Because she is sisterly, this means she gets along with jocks, lazies, and peppies, but seems to conflict a lot with snoots and cranky villagers. And this goes without saying, she's obviously one of the sheep in the game. I'm also lucky enough to have Mac on my island. He is a jock, meaning that he is energetic, fitness focused, and loves sports. He often talks about exercise as well. He gets along with peppy and smug villagers, but he can also annoy snooty and lazy villagers. Mac is one of the 20 dog villagers you can get. I believe that there are 12 male and 8 female dog villagers. Following the same steps as before, deploy Mac's tent and then head back to the plaza. Tom is now going to expect you to do 2 things. He's going to ask for your help to collect some sticks and to do some fruit as well. There are 2 ways to find tree branches. You can either pick up the ones that are laying on the ground around the base of the tree, or you can go up to the tree and shake it and tree branches will fall out of the tree. Tom needs 10 tree branches, but if you find more and you want to pick them up, there is absolutely no harm in doing that because you will need them later on in the game. To start with, he's only going to ask you for the 10 tree branches, but because I've started my island so many times, I know that he's going to ask you for some fruit as well. You need 6 pieces of fruit. I like to do the sticks and the fruit in one go. It just saves time. If you're not sure about the amount of sticks or fruit that you've picked up, just press X to see your pockets and it will tell you. Remember, you need at least 10 sticks and 6 pieces of fruit minimum. Once you've collected those bits, you can race back over to Tom in the plaza. Now it is time to drink juice next to the fire and enjoy your first night on your deserted island. Now is the time where we get to name the island. Again, this is something that you cannot change until you reset your whole island, so think about it very carefully. Feel free to ask what other people have named theirs. Go on Reddit, go on Pinterest, go on YouTube. Use the internet to your advantage. Get as many ideas as possible before you name it. Decide on one, but definitely think about it carefully. Because I've restarted several islands over and over, I have used so many different names. I actually didn't realize after doing a bit of deep diving that I've already named a previous island this name. I must like it so much that I've decided to do it again, but Maple Cove is the one that we've named this island. This island name is also something that will be on your passport and other players can see, so make sure it doesn't contain any sensitive information. I should also point out it doesn't matter what you name your island, everyone will unanimously vote for yours anyway. However, I do like seeing what everyone else likes to volunteer. Because the island name that you suggested becomes the new name of the island, it means that you will be appointed resident representative of your island. Does anyone look at the drinks that they're holding and just think, I would really like to try one of them, because same. Nothing important is really going to happen for the rest of the day on here now, but I like to make sure that I go around and speak to everyone. Can we just appreciate how cute Mac is? Now, before you can advance to the next day, you will need to go and see Tom at the campfire, and he will give you a camping cot. When you arrive at your tent, you will see that there are 2 boxes. You will need to unbox them by walking up to them and pressing A. You can also hold down on A and use the left stick to position them. It doesn't really matter where in your tent you put them. I just kind of leave them on the sides of the tent that they already are. So my radio is going to stay on the right and my lamp is going to stay on the left. I push them over as far as I can and my bed will go in the middle. I decided to flip my bed. The way that you can do that is holding on to A and flicking the left stick from left to right, depending on which way you want to spin it. Now it's time to meet someone who is even more famous than Tom Nook. He's actually supposed to be famous in the game. If you don't know his name, get to know his name. We are about to meet KK Slider. In the game, KK Slider is a famous musician. He is also a dog. You can actually buy his vinyls from the Nook stop in resident services. If you don't want to hear a slight spoiler, put the video on mute now. But one of the main points of the game is to upgrade your island so much that KK will want to do a show at your island. Once you reach this point, KK will visit your island every Saturday. KK is actually coming to you in a dream right now. I think that was pretty obvious because we led down in the camping cot and then KK appeared. He's not actually here, he's just in a dream. But when we wake up from this dream, the clock will be in sync with the game clock now. So if it's 10 o'clock in real life, it will be 10 o'clock in the game. Something cool about the game is that a new day technically starts every day at 5 a.m. Tom really likes to do a morning broadcast and you will see that in the next installment of these videos. But the new day starts at 5 a.m. So if you log in at 4:49, it will still be the same day. But if you log in at 5:01, Tom will be there to greet you and give you a morning broadcast. When you wake up from your really strange KK dream, Tom will be outside your tent waiting to speak to you. So it's important that you don't keep him waiting. Because I was playing this game at about 9 o'clock in the evening, it makes it look like it was the same evening of the bonfire, but it was supposed to be a day later. At this point in the game, Tom is going to give you one of the most useful things you can have in the game. He's going to give you your very own NookPhone. It reminds me a little bit of an iPhone. I wish there was a phone like this in real life with just the basic apps on it. When Tom first gives you the phone, you'll notice that there are only 6 apps on it, but don't worry, you will accumulate more. Tom is actually going to give you the choice to add Island Life 101 on your phone. It's an app and it is super helpful. It is free. If you choose you don't want it at this point, you have to go to resident services and pay for it later. I would recommend having it for free from Tom now. The Island Life 101 app will actually give you little prompts, making the game easier to play. You can turn these off at any time. Now the little money-grabbing raccoon is going to give you an itemized bill. This is actually the only bill related to your accommodation that is going to be payable by Nook Miles rather than bells. Any other bill relating to accommodation is going to need to be paid off in full in bells. I do have some tips and tricks how to earn bells quickly, but that's going to come later in the game, so stay tuned to this series if you want to find out how to make bells quick. Tom is just going to explain the difference between Nook Miles and bells. There's not a massive difference between it. I think Nook Miles are worth a lot of bells. And it also just depends on what you're buying. Usually the clothes, the outfits, the shoes, bits and bobs like that are in Bells, whereas recipes, DIY recipes, and certain mini expansions are going to be in Nook Miles. So we have now officially finished the quote tutorial section. Well, the first tutorial anyway. You're technically in the tutorial section until KK performs on the island. There are going to be instructions to follow. There's going to be certain jobs that Tom's going to want you to do, and you're not fully out of the tutorial section until you can terraform and completely change your island around. So to access your NookPhone, i.e. the most important tool that you will ever be given, you want to press the trigger on your left Joy-Con. It's on the back left. Now is a great time to familiarize yourself with the phone. I'm just going to give you a quick tour of one of the apps called Nook Miles. This is basically your to-do list. It gives you little incentives for doing tasks and things like that. It's great, it's enjoyable, it's fun. It's kind of built like a scrapbook as well, that you collect all the little stickers. As you can see, there are a lot of empty rectangles in my Nook Miles. This just means that I've not advanced to the part of the game that you can unlock what is supposed to be there just yet. But don't worry, we will get there. If you can hear a little blinking noise while you're stood outside your tent, that is going to be your mailbox. Click A up close to it and you'll be able to open it. Look through your mail, you'll get given gifts, add them to your pocket, then go in your pocket and open them up. It's great. One of my gifts is actually a paradise planning photo. This is only going to appear if you've bought the expansion pack that comes with the game. At this point, when you get gifted a DIY recipe, you won't be able to memorize it just yet. There's a step that we have to complete, but that is a job for tomorrow. I don't want to overwhelm you guys, so I'm going to call it there. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, head on over to my channel and view my playlists to find similar videos, and I will see you in the next one. Don't forget to save your progress. Bye!